What's up, the guys? Dibalin Football Channel, Kaizer Chiefs Football Channel, football from the fans' perspective. Welcome back, welcome to our new video. We're doing a review. Kaizer Chiefs 0, Horoya AC 0. Another bad performance from Kaizer Chiefs. The game literally, the entire game was not so impressive from the side of Kaizer Chiefs and on the side of Horoya. It was not an impressive game. I think we failed as Kaizer Chiefs. We failed to beat a substandard team in Horoya. A very bad team, according to me. They didn't give us any threats. They came, they were so conservative, they stayed at the back. They were looking at Kaizer Chiefs and asking, what are you going to do? And yeah, we did nothing as well. We couldn't, penetrate that defense. We didn't look like we have a plan on how to penetrate the defense. And yeah, like we mentioned, Horoya will only give you problems on standard situations. And to deal with that, we need to avoid creating those situations. We need to avoid committing fouls. We need to avoid, committing and making corner kicks. And I think we did better. We did better in this game. There was a very few fouls, more especially on our half. And there are chances that came on the side of Horoya. Like I said, aerial balls, Kune dealt with them easily. And there were few chances, but some were chances that looked like, if it was not a keeper who knows what he's doing, could have gave us a problem. Other than that, there was really no threats from the Horoya team. Kaizer Chiefs also, we didn't look like a team that knows how to break low blocks. We don't look like a team that knows how to create goals. We don't look like a team that has a strategy on how to create goals. We don't look like that. Like the same thing with SuperSport game. Same thing with SuperSport game. On the final third, it just doesn't make sense on how we play. Too much responsibility to create goals on Ngobo and the fullbacks, Frosler and Ngeza. Other than that, the players in the middle of the park, on build-up, yes, they can be there when we play, but when it comes to the final third, there's just seems like there's no one who's willing to put an effort. There's no strategy on how Kaizer Chiefs wants to score. And this is how the coach decided in his lineup. Kune played, Ngeza on the right. Two center backs are Kumu and Rama. Frosler is the left back. Parker on the right, and Katsande and Bakas. Return of Bakas in the midfield, and then Ngobo was there. Ngobo was supporting the two strikers Nukovic and Castro, which I don't have a problem with the two strikers, and that's one thing that I prefer. The first half, I watched the first half. In the middle of the first half, around I think 15 to 20 minutes into the first half, because of the whole thing of SABC Sport and them giving us a very a website link that does not work, and saying we must wait up until 11 o'clock late to watch a game that played at 6 o'clock. And yeah, I think that we shouldn't. It's a topic for another day. Anything that has to do with SABC and our government and stuff, I think it's a topic for another day. In the first half, Kaizer Chiefs, there was no threats. Like I mentioned, it didn't look like we have a plan. There were a lot of early crosses from the side of Frosler. I think sometimes they are too early. So according to me, sometimes they are too early. There is no one. There's only one person on the box. Maybe it's Castro or Nukovic. But yeah, too early. Sometimes overhit. Sometimes too close to the keeper of Horoya, and it just didn't work for us. And there's one thing that we need to work on. On the side of Ngezana, there was some sort of, he was a bit reserved, was not going forward that much, especially in the first half. So it didn't give us anything going forward in the first half. But the second half, we looked like, we looked more lively. We looked better in attacking. We looked like we want a goal. We looked like a team that is playing at home. And that's one thing that we were supposed to do. We're supposed to attack, go out and attack and try get that goal when we're playing at home. But yeah, in the second half, we did a cross from the side of Frosler, and Nukovic puts it on the back of the net, and the lineman, deemed it an offside. According to me, it was not an offside. It was a wrong call, and it was a series of wrong calls from the linesman, and it's something that concerns me with officiating in CAF, with officiating in South African football and African football. It doesn't cut it for me. It looks like we're not doing enough. We're not doing enough to improve our football, and it's a huge concern for me. And a second one was a low cross on the right hand side, and it also met with Nukovic. He hits it, and and it sort of tapped in on the back of the net. It was deemed an offside again. I think it was an offside. The second one was an offside. It was a correct call, according to me. Otherwise, yeah, like I said, the issue of officiating is it's for me it's worrisome. Backers in the game didn't give us anything. A lot of backward passes, a lot of sideways passes, lazy in terms of creating spaces, and lost the ball a lot. Gave the ball away for many times, and I was not impressed with how he played. We can say it's rusty. He has not been playing. After the game, he played well against Orlando Pirates. Was dropped. Don't understand why, and now was brought back, and yeah, he was very wasteful in this game, to be honest. And then Ngezan on the side of Ngezan, and more especially in the second half, cross is very bad. Ngezan is very bad on crosses. I understand he's a centre back, the natural centre back. He's learning in the right back and is improving in the right back, but he needs to improve. More especially if Kaizer Chiefs is going to play on aerial balls. If we are going to look into whipping those early crosses on the side of Frosler, yes, he improved in the second half, but Ngezan, a lot of his crosses were just not doing it for me. You cross the ball and it goes out to be a throw, a throw in that side of the pitch, and it doesn't even land on the box. That's the first thing. If you cross, it has to land on the box. It has to pose some threats into the box of the opponent, and he was very dreadful on that side of the game. And I think he can try and work on them. Katsande and Parker, they gave us a game. I think they did a decent job, and the second time they played very well. And sometimes Parker wants to do it too much, but Katsande was doing it well, and he's not my favorite player, but he was doing it well. Parker also played well, didn't have a bad game, and that's one thing that we've been stressing, that the senior players must give 100%, so that the young players around them can gain confidence, can want to play, can play football, with that ease. But if the senior players look shaky, they are not doing well in their game, it also has an impact on the younger players, and they did well, and that's one thing that I want to give credit to both of them, Parker and Katsand. And Ngobo was closely watched. That's something that we mentioned in the game, I think, after Supersport and the games before. That the thing is, if you give Ngobo responsibility, too many responsibilities and too many praises, is going to be watched by teams. It's going to be monitored by teams. Horoya, they did their work. They gave him little spaces and very little time on the ball. He had to, whenever he receives the ball, he had to turn back and pass back. If he wants to drive the ball, forward, he was dispossessed easily, and it looked like it's a strategy. They knew that you need to take care of this player, and then there will be a shortage of supply on the striking forces, and they did very well. And like I said, we need to share responsibilities. There must be some sharing of responsibilities in the creative, side of our game. It cannot be Ngobo only. It cannot be the right back and the left back who are tasked with creating goals. It won't work. It doesn't work anywhere. And the balls were not reaching the strikers because of the strategy to cut the supply, cut Ngobo. The balls are not going to reach the strikers, and cut on the left hand side, cut on the right hand side. The ball is not going to land on their box, and that was bad. That was bad. And Blom came in. That's one thing that I think is worth mentioning. When Blom came in, there was some change in our game. First, when Bakas and Katsande were there in the game, Kaizer Chiefs spent a lot of their time with the ball on their centre backs. We played the ball on our centre backs, circulate the ball on our centre backs. Horoya is just looking at us and saying, "What are you going to do? Are you going to score with while knocking the ball on or with your centre backs? You're not going to do anything." And Kaizer Chiefs couldn't do anything because there is no support in the middle of the park. If a team, those are basic, according to me, they are basics in football. If you are pressed by two men, you add one of the central midfielders to support the centre backs. It becomes 3 versus 2. If they are pressing with 3, you add the right back and left back, and then you add one of the midfielders. Comes 4 versus 3 or 5 versus 3, and it's easy to build up. It's easy to move with the ball forward. And that's one thing that Bakas was not giving us, is one thing that Katsande was not giving us, and Bakas was just, to me, was not giving spaces. And when Blom came in, a lot of spaces, the centre backs were able to play the ball, and the ball was able to progress into the opponent's half, into the danger zones. That's one thing that I commend with him. And sometimes he has the confidence to turn. He has a confidence, though it may be risky, but you need to take the risks. He has a confidence to turn and beat one man and then play the ball, and were able to initiate the attack. And Blom gave us a lot of that. And there's one thing that I want to do is to give credit to him. Manyama came in. There was really nothing much that he could do. There's nothing much except the fact that we got a free kick towards the final minute of the game. He hit it very well. Manyama took it very well. Was headed to the top corner, but was saved. It was a very great save from the Horoya keeper, and he denied us a goal that I think we should have won the game with that goal, and Manyama took it very well. Kambole came in, but was late. I heard there's a critique on him. Yes, he's not been doing well, I understand, but to use this game to criticize him, I think is a bit unfair. First, the whole team didn't play well. Secondly, it was the end of the game, the late stages of the game. There was really nothing. It was just crosses after crosses after crosses. He's not a guy that is competitive on air. And I saw he sort of improved on his muscles. I don't know why, more especially his upper body. But yeah, it's unfair. For me, it's unfair to judge him on this game. He came in, couldn't effect a change. The whole team was not playing well. And yeah, that is it from me. Otherwise, the way I saw the game, Kaizer Chiefs should have won this game, and we need to fix our final third, strategies on how to win the game, strategies on how to break the defense, strategies on how to score goals. We don't have that right now. Cross, yes, I agree with the crosses. Take me correct, I agree with the crosses, but sometimes there's a ball in the middle of the park. You need to break the defense in the middle of the park. You need to do something. And if Ngobo is not supported, it's not going to work. The few goals that we scored when Nukovic came back, the ones that were created, you look at Happy Mashiane's goal, you look at Ngobo's goals, there was some sort of support system, and there was some sort of movement between Ngobo, Nukovic, Happy Mashiane, who's, I think, we're missing a lot right now. His absence, it shows that there's no movement in the upfront. And yeah, someone who's trying also is Manyama. Kaizer Chiefs has to fix on how we want to score our goals. We need to alleviate pressure on Ngobo and the right backs. Like I said, we can't be those three players that are creating. And one thing, this group C of CAF right now in the group stages, it's easy to win. Kaizer Chiefs would have won against Horoya. Horoya beat Petro de Luanda 2-0. And if Horoya plays so dreadful, so bad, I'm just wondering how is Petro de Luanda. I think the team that is going to be difficult to beat and play against is Wydad Casablanca. Other than that team, there is literally no justification why we can't win this group. If we can negotiate a draw, away against Casablanca and win at home, which is possible, and win the games, the remaining games, we can win against Luanda. We can also win in Guinea against Horoya. To be honest, there is no team in Horoya, and we can progress in this group. But we just need to fix, those few things. The mistakes, like I said, consistency, like I said, and yeah, if team full of potential has to do better. We need to do better. Otherwise, from me, I would like to hear, what you think about the game if you did watch the game, and what you think about our creative, side of the game and how we should improve it. Otherwise, that is it from me. That's Dibalen Football Channel, Kaizer Chiefs Football Channel, football from the fans' perspective. Love and peace.